Welcome to the second match of the Trainer School League. My name is Wire Dragon. I'm joined by my co-host Naolis, and I don't know about you, Naolis. This is probably one of the Week 1 matchups I have been so looking forward to.
Two members of faculty going head to head with two very interesting teams going into it. I'm sure we have a lot to say about them because they both decided on strategies that I think that they have not tried before in any draft leagues.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be cool to see them not only learn the team as they go, but see both of them learn it as they're playing their first matchup. And, I mean, why don't we take a look first at the Obstagoons led by Lord Lunith? And, I mean, a lot of Pokemon we can comment on, a lot of really powerful Mons here as well.
Oh yeah, if you just look at the first few picks, you've got Volcarona and Armarouge. Volcarona is definitely one of the strongest and probably, I would argue, the best setup sweeper in the entire potential draft. Armarouge itself has a lot of sweeping potential with stored power and weak armor sets. Going into this particular match, Flash Fire looks very interesting given how many fire types the Sinister Quils have. Uh, if you look further down, we have Indeedee to support the Armarouge, Hippowdon to be just a great physical wall and set up some decent chip with its own sandstream ability, and then Brute Bonnet and Meowscarada for just high priority or high speed and hard hitting attacks.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of really cool Pokemon here. I do want to point out, too, that there are a lot of interesting double type Pokemon here, right? Meowscarada and the primordial version, if you will, of that Amoonguss, both sharing that grass dark typing, and as well as that Farigiraf and Indeedee giving the normal psychic. It's going to be interesting to see, maybe the Terra type comes into play and changes one of those two typings to hell.
Now, our Terra captains going in. Speaking of Terra captains, our Terra captains for the Goons this week are Volcarona and Armarouge.
Mm.
Volcarona, like I said before, is one of the best set of sweepers in the entire draft. And having access to a defensive Terra or even an offensive Terra against some of those stickier walls is going to be an incredible tool to have for the Goons here.
Yeah, let's take a look at what those tools are going to have to compete up with. And I mean, when we take a look at this Quills roster, first word that comes to mind, Sun.
Absolutely. One of the first picks that the Quills picked up was Torkoal, which basically told everybody that they're going to go into a Sun team. Nobody really contested them during the draft, and it seems like he got to have the run of his choices. He got Torkoal. His first pick was Iron Moth, very good in the Sun. A lot of people will call it a mini Chi-Yu, unfortunately unavailable in this draft, thanks to it being a Noobers. We've got Rotom-Mow to help cover some of that weaknesses to water. Tauros Paldea, the Blaze, which is incredibly fast and diverse, hard-hitting physical mon, and hits even harder with that Raging Bull in the Sun. I'd like to see anybody try to set up screens in front of that. We've got Colossal for some setup in Stealth Rocks, as well as even Stealth Rock, and has Stealth Rock and entry hazard removal, because it gets access to Rapid Spin. And then even at the very bottom here, we have Scovillain, one of the best chlorophyll sweepers in the game, I would say. Next to Lilligant, but I think Scovillain having a wider variety of potential moves has access to, as well as can be with the access of being physical or special, given its equal special and attack stats. It's interesting to see what the Quills will do here with it today.
Yeah, I can't wait to get in this game. And our trainers have actually hit the arena, so we're going to switch over to the game to see the brought Pokemon for each team. Looks like... Oh, my bad. Looks like the Lord Lunith on the left, being the Obstinate Obstagoons, has brought that Armarouge, Volcarona, Hippowdon, Murkrow, as well as the Brute Bonnet and the Phalanx, and the Sinister Quills bringing Torkoal, Iron Moth. Looks like it's going to be that Bramblegast, Colossal, Rotom-Mow, and that Tauros Heat. Any expected leads, any Pokemon that look really good here?
Now, given the name of the game for the Sinister Quils over here, I this Torkoal is the lead. Trying to get at that sun and maybe even some stealth rocks, or just getting some good damage off of the sun boosted lava plume, or potentially even eruption if he's expecting some kind of setup or some kind of like attempt to stop anything from happening. I can only expect the Torkoal being the lead here. There's a potential chance for this Brambleghast to come through, as it's also entry hazard setup. As we can see here on Lord Luna's side, the Obstinate Obstagoons, there is no entry hazard removal, so we'll see if V Gamers wants to try and take advantage of that. For Lord Luna's side with the Obstinate Obstagoons, I can see a couple potential leads. If you want to go straight for the with no real threats here, I was gonna say maybe we could see a Armor Rouge lead or an Volcarona lead to try and just get some damage off, but it looks like he decided to lead with Murkrow.
Yeah, I mean, Murkrow versus that Torkoal that you called out earlier, and it looks like first turn taunt, predicting the Stealth Rocks. A great start for the Obstinate Obstagoons here.
The question now is what else is this Murkrow going to be able to do? It's a very good support mon, but that's about where it ends. And with the sun boosted lava plume or any fire, going to do a lot of damage to whatever wants to switch in, or to the Murkrow if it wants to switch in. That Eviolite's going to be able to soak up a little bit more of the damage, but sun boosted fire from any fire type is going to hit real hard.
Yeah, that makes sense. Obviously, we talked about the fire. There's a fire immunity here in that Armor Rouge, but it looks like the Torkoal's going to switch out into the Brambleghast as the Rain Dance comes out from Murkrow with using that Prankster ability to prevent the Torkoal.
I'm curious if we're going to see an attacking move on this. Although honestly, it looks like it's doing its job. This Brambleghast, I wonder if it's also going to try and set up some entry hazards. Again, it may fall prey to that taunt. Otherwise, I'm not sure what this Brambleghast can really do to hurt this Murkrow.
Yeah, perhaps just trying to switch out, predicting the Murkrow switch. It's really hard to tell at this point, super early in the game, and honestly, nothing's really been revealed. Going to double out into that Colossal, taunt goes out into the Colossal, maybe a double the V Gamer, and worked out relatively favorably for him, I think. Immediately into the U-turn, switching out here.
Now, this Colossal is also another entry hazard. So there's chance that V Gamer is really trying to get those entry hazards out, but just getting stopped at every turn by this Murkrow. As for what switches in here, I'm thinking it might be either Hippowdon or the Phalanx. There it is.
Stone Edge coming out doing 23% here. Reasonable damage, but I don't think anything that the Goons are super worried about at this point.
Now, V Gamer has a couple options here. Do they stay in and try to get some more chip damage off onto the Phalanx? Most likely goes for the no retreat, or do they switch into something that can potentially outspeed it after a speed boost? One thing that V Gamer has to keep in mind is that this Tauros coming in will just raise the attack higher more than likely, given that this Phalanx has the option of having the Defiant ability.
Yeah, so obviously Rain is really important to the Sun team, as that no retreat is called staying in Stone Edge, doing about 90%. Overall, how important do you think this Rain is at this point? Do you think it's going to stop most things that the Quils want to do, or do you think that the Quils have some reasonable options to get out of this without having to use the Sun up?
I'm really not sure. I think if the Quils want to do any more get more damage into this, they're going to want to switch in the Torkoal, and honestly, that choice might be made for them right here and now.
I mean, close combat.
Close combat's going to take down the Colossal, even if it has some phenomenal physical bulk. A +1 close combat from a Phalanx is going to take it out, and I think that this Torkoal. I think with the Rain now gone, I don't think the Torkoal is as incentivized to come back in, but I'm really not sure what the Quils have here that can come in and outspeed this Phalanx, or even if they outspeed, be able to deal enough damage. My best guess is probably Iron Moth, but even then you have to worry about the Armor Rouge coming in after the fact, so it's really a matter of what this Iron Moth brought.
Yeah, and while Iron Moth here obviously will kill this Phalanx as no retreat is active, and that Phalanx can no longer switch out. But you're right, after this, the switch in for the Goon seems to be favorable for him, as the Iron Mouth does come in. Quark Drive activating, giving him a special attack boost as long as this Mon is currently in, or that Sun gets turned back up by the Quils.
Now, something to be said here is that uh, this. Oh my goodness, Phalanx was
Oh,
still faster. The special attack, I was going to say, the special boost does make it so that the Phalanx is still faster. There is a way to set up the an Iron Moth so that it does have a speed boost, but it does take away from its firepower a bit, and it looks like V valued that firepower going in instead. And once again, I'm fairly certain, unless this is a choice scarf, Tauros, this Phalanx still outspeeds.
yeah. Going for the close combat, doing 93%. It looks like the Taurus will get the kill onto that Phalanx, but two Mons down and almost a third taking that major damage. I mean, if you're sitting in the goon spot, I feel like you're really comfortable here.
Oh, absolutely. This the full Corona can come in, and if it's we've seen the leftovers, so this is potentially a bulkier version of Tauros. But the only thing that matches this Tauros' speed left on the Obstinate Obstagoons team is this Volcarona. This Hippowdon can do a very good job coming in and just walling off this Tauros though and setting up sand. It's able to sit in front of it with slack off and maybe set up its own stealth rock so that if they decide to switch up this Tauros, then they cannot come back in and without taking significant chip and basically nullifying that leftovers recovery.
Yeah, and I think something I want to point out here, we talked about the Terra Captivity again, and it is that Tauros, Paldea, and Colossal. The Colossal dead, the only available option is this Bull, and I'm not sure what Terra type would really give V the advantage here.
Now the question here is this Armourouge weak armor or flash fire? If it is weak armor and V makes the potential blunder of hitting it with a physical move that doesn't kill it, given that it's very physically bulky, this Armourouge will then outspeed everything on that team, and it misses the Stone Edge. That may be a huge boon for the Sinister Quils going forward if it is the weak armor set, but that may not matter given the fact that the Obstinate Obstacles are still in such a powerful position looking into this 5-3 lead so far.
Rotom Bow coming here in on the switch after the flamethrower kill there. Dark Pulse coming out dealing 67% chance, getting the weak armor proc. Flamethrower hitting 100%.
The weakness policy, the weak armor. We still are unsure on what ability this Armourouge is, but this Armourouge I think just has the game now. Its potential, like I don't believe anything has the ability to survive a hit from it, and its speed is just a bit faster than it may be slower than this Brambleghast, but it's just a bit and the stored power. Oh my goodness.
This might be the end of the game right here. This Brambleghast is going to need to pull something out of its rear end to try to finish this. Shadow Sneak does not kill. Procs that weak armor, +2 speed. Flamethrower killing the Brambleghast, finishing this game off at a +5 for the Obstinate Obstagoons. And I mean, what an end to that game. Beautifully played by the Goons for that whole bit.
Honestly, it did from turn one with that Murkrow lead. It didn't seem quite like the Sinister Quills had much were able to get a lot of momentum going. That Murkrow with the taunt and the rain dance and the ability to U-turn out into something that had a better and get a little bit of chip off on their whatever you turned out on and switch out into a better matchup just worked wonders for the Obstinate Obstagoons, and it just seemed like V Gamer was unfortunately never able to get the momentum back.
Yeah, wonderfully played by both contestants, but definitely incredible showing by the Goons there. Shows a lot of team prep. Unbelievably, with 2 games down in this league, there hasn't been a Terran Pokemon yet. You would think that with a new big mechanic like that, you would see more use of it, but maybe just not the potential to be able to use that Terra effectively. Are we looking at a really offensive meta that maybe doesn't require it?
It's possible, but I think that looking down the line, if that the how the league ends up working out with more offensive metas and people not really having time to Terra their Pokemon, I think we might see the evolution of people wanting to either Terra for even more damage or just going straight for the defensive Terra. Switch into this Armourouge, maybe going for a dark type Terra, and so that you don't get hit by the stored power or the psychic type attacks, or even going for a rock type to resist, or rock or fire type itself to resist the fire type moves coming from it.
And seems so interesting, and I hope we get to see some of those Terra Pokemon in the future. Speaking of our future games, our next match scheduled for tomorrow, when you will see this, will be Nikakul and the Whoop Batman Incorporated versus Riven and the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Looking forward to that match, and I hope you all join us for that one as well. Thank you for joining us in today's episode, and I appreciate you all being here, and look forward to talking to you next time, seeing what we can bring for more of these Pokemon Draft League battles.
Have a good night.